Hello, my name is Daniel Geesling. This is the Motif video assignment for Miss Miller's English 4 class. This is due March 8th, 2016 at 11:59 p.m. and that's in a little bit under 50 minutes. So I don't have very much time to do this, but I will certainly try. A motif is a reoccurring idea, reoccurring theme, reoccurring subject, color, person, anything that is reoccurring throughout a story or multiple stories that could be of any significance or could foreshadow any events down the road in the story. The motif that I have decided to go with for these stories is that there is at least one person in every single one of the stories that has to overcome some difficult challenge or odds. Or it could be that they have to overcome themselves and how they act. In Beowulf, he has multiple things that he has to overcome. He has to overcome defeating Grendel, which I will say he does make look easy. But still, no other person could do it except for him. He had that challenge and he overcame no matter the odds. He had to rule a kingdom, which is no easy task. I'd say it's quite hard to rule a kingdom. And then in his weak old age, he had to come back from ruling a kingdom for many years and face a dragon. Unfortunately, he did fall in that battle, but that's the story, and the dragon got killed anyway. So in Canterbury Tales, the wife's of Bass Tale, he has to provide the answer to the question. That is what he has to overcome. He has to overcome his ignorance in not knowing that question. That is not the only thing that he has to overcome, though, because after he does finally get the answer to the question, he has to overcome the idea and the thought of being married to a old, fairly not good looking woman, whenever he wished that he would be married to a young, beautiful woman instead. And as with everything, he overcomes in the very end, and they live happily ever after. Pardoner's Tale does not have the strongest case for this motif, but I do believe that they still have to overcome their greed. Because if they do not overcome their greed, they will end up like the three men in the story that ended up killing themselves, basically. Or killing each other. If your greed is not tamed, you will do anything to get what you want. And that is what the pilgrims have to do. They have to overcome their greed, even though they want money, power, anything like that so much. They have to overcome, because if they don't, they will just end up self-destructing and not continue. In Sir Gawain and the Green Knight, he of course has many things that he has to overcome. He has to overcome his fear of the Green Knight and stand up for his king. That way his king doesn't get his head lopped off. He has to overcome finding the Green Knight, which proves to be quite difficult. And then he has to complete the trials and overcome not being seduced by the Green Knight's wife, not getting his own head chopped off, and overall just overcoming not dying by the hands of the Green Knight. In La Morte d'Arthur, Arthur and his men must overcome Mordred and slay him because of his villainous act of taking Britain. They have to overcome and go back to Britain just to take him back over because he took it and it was not his. Bedivere also has to overcome his hesitations and his not wanting to throw the sword into the water, even though Arthur told him 3 times to throw the sword into the water. I believe that this motif is very common in modern literature. If you read a story, basically every single time in the story, you have a main character and a set of side characters. And usually that main character has a quest or something that they need to get done or overcome. The motif is also quite common and used a lot in commonplace for our own lives. Everything that we do in life is overcoming. We have to overcome every single thing that we do, because if we don't, we will get left in the dust. Someday, people will have to go off to college and overcome going through college. People will have to raise kids of their own, which, if I have to say, that is quite difficult. And another thing that people will have to overcome is making this video, which